in the middle of South Africa's 21-day lockdown, probably on like day 10 or 11 today. So this model is basically just based loosely off of Taleb's work, Lindy Man on Twitter, bit of Robert Kiyosaki, bit of Dave Ramsey, bit of Tim Ferriss, but basically just some pattern recognition, a lot of generalizations. So just consider this a tool, a meme, as it were. But basically what happens is, in any economy, you have three lifestyles. Your base lifestyle is the survival economy, the survival lifestyle. And they're dealing with a lack of health and a lack of safety. Your middle layer is the slavery economy, and they're dealing with a lack of time and a lack of money. And then your top layer is the significance economy, and they're dealing with a lack of mission, lack of meaning, lack of legacy, you could call it that. Those are the problems that each layer deals with. You also look at the lifestyle wise, both the top and the bottom layer are the 12-hour lifestyle, and the middle layer is a 4-hour lifestyle. Now what we mean by a 4-hour lifestyle is that you sleep 8 hours, you work 8 hours, you have 4 hours for commuting and eating and doing tasks and things like that, which leaves you only 4 hours to live your own life, to pursue your significance and your passions and your calling. The 12-hour lifestyle, people in the significance category, if you own your own business, if you're someone who runs your own trade or whatever the case is, but you control your own time. So you have 12 hours in a day to decide, what am I going to do with 12 hours of my day? And in the poverty space, in the survival economy, you have 12 hours to decide what to do. You just don't have the resources accompanying that. But nonetheless, you have 12 hours to decide what you're going to do every day. And so what we see with economies is that you yourself are going to be in one or two of these levels. Your family is going to be in one of them. Your church is going to be in one of them. Your nation is predominantly going to be in one of them. And so when you look at America, the American dream is for the person who is in survival or slavery economy to make it into the significance economy, to make it out of the lack of time, a lack of money, to make it out of a lack of health, a lack of safety, and to finally arrive at the American dream of I decide what I want to do and I've got the resources to do it. In South Africa, the majority of people are in the survival economy. If you're living in a township, your biggest concerns are a lack of health, meaning sanitation is an issue, accommodation is an issue, healthcare is an issue, and then as far as safety is concerned, law and order. There's a huge lack of law and order, of safety by the law. And so the interesting thing about this whole crisis we're in right now is that for the first time in America, many people who are in the slavery economy have been bumped down into the survival economy. People are petrified of dying. And so for the first time, there's this huge concern in America over a lack of health and a lack of safety. In South Africa, the biggest problem right now is that we have a failed state. So there was a huge thriving primary economy. Again, an economy, the building blocks of an economy are primary, secondary, and luxury. The primary economy is mining, agriculture, trades, construction, logistics, healthcare, things that if you're going to go set up an economy somewhere, those are the primary things that matter and that count to building a new community, a new nation, a new economy. So those things are going to be fine in South Africa. There's a need for them. They carry on regardless. Now, the reason they weren't fine in Zimbabwe is because when law and order failed, when the state failed, as it has here in South Africa, it was easy enough for all the significance lifestyle, significance economy businessmen to pack up all their things and just drive across the border. And so what happened was that economy went very quickly into a mass survival economy. And so what you have now in Zimbabwe is that people will come down across the border looking for slavery work. And when I say slavery work, I'm not calling bosses these evil slavers. I'm saying slavery because you really are enslaved to debt, enslaved to a wage. And your time is not your own. You must show up every day at 8. You must ask your boss permission to leave. You must carry on getting this wage, otherwise the bank will repossess your house. That's what I mean by slavery. It's you don't control your own time. And so this guy from Zimbabwe arrives over the border. He works, finds employment, gets a wage, and he can send money back into the survival economy, back to his family who are in Zimbabwe. The reason that any survival economy survives is because the government issues welfare, or private charities take care of people. Now the problem in Zimbabwe is that the government have inflated their currency to infinity, and they have no tax base, so they can't look after anyone. And all your businessmen have left, so there's no charity. You see this on a bigger scale with people going, in America it's the Mexicans. They come across the border because they have a huge survival economy. They come across the border, they find work, and they send money back to Mexico because their family are trying to survive. And so what happens here in this economy, and in Zimbabwe, even their primary economy has failed. They can't create or maintain the civilization, the law and order required to build even a primary economy. And so here in South Africa, there is no South Africa to run to. There's no country on the border that all the businessmen and all the people in the slave economy can say, oh, there's law and order there. There's peace there. I want to go live in peace. I want to go live where there's law and order. You have to fly to Australia. You have to fly to New Zealand. You have to fly to England. You have to fly to America. And that costs a lot of money. And it's hard for people to uproot and say goodbye to the people they love and the places they love. And so what's happened in Zimbabwe, there was an exodus. Pretty much everybody who owned a business left. Here in South Africa, hundreds of thousands have left, but still millions remain. And so what you have is a failed state with no law and order. However, you still have a captive population of significance and slavery people.